Should be good. All right, sir. Tell me your name.
My name's Cliff Christian. I'm 42.
42. How'd you make it here to recovery? Not recovery resources, but how'd you find your way to recovery?
Well, when I was a kid, I went through state's custody a few times. I was at CCS when it was a juvenile facility in the 90s.
Yeah.
And went to DRI in Knoxville before they turned it into Suboxone or methadone clinic, whatever it is now. And lived in a couple foster homes. This was just where I got in trouble, so my dad put me in state's custody. It wasn't because I was an orphan or anything. I just got in trouble in school, and I always hated school. I hated that they would make me sit down and try to sit and listen to them when I'd already read the whole book. And they wanted me to sit there and go over it again and again, and they had all this stuff on the walls, and I just wanted to get up and play with all the things on the walls and play with the other stuff, and then they would yell at me and freak out. So they put me in learning disability classes in my second year of first grade. And then at my second year of first grade, they had taken me to, they had some lady from Knoxville from the school district come and do tests on me, and they found out that I wasn't learning disabled, that I was just a little bit Looney Tunes, but I was actually reading at a third grade college level. Or third year college level. So then they put me in the smart class, and all I did was sit and play on a computer and play Oregon Trail all day. And then I was about 8. My parents got divorced, and I had moved to Ohio with my mom and my new stepdad, and my dad had got married again. I got a stepbrother, and then at 9 o'clock, me and my stepbrother figured out how to break into my dad's liquor cabinet. So that's when that all started. And after going through all the state's custody and everything, I had been to IOP a couple times for probation. I had gotten a guy, I was drunk, and I had ate about 5 totem poles and smoked some crack, and a guy stole my wallet while I was passed out on my boss's couch. So we went over to his house, and I was supposed to be trying to fight him. Well, I couldn't even stand up. He beat the crap out of me, and where he'd stole my wallet and beat the crap out of me, he took off running down the road because the landlady had called the police. Well, me, apparently in my right mind, got in my car and hit him at 47 miles an hour. So I got charged with attempted first-degree murder, aggravated vehicular assault, fleeing the scene of an accident, felony evading, something else. I can't remember what it all is. That was in 2002, I think.
That's quite an acceleration from breaking into a liquor cabinet.
Yeah. Well, when I was 14, I had broken into a bowling alley that was next to the apartments where my mom had played volleyball in the back patio of the bowling alley. They had an open bar, so we just jumped the fence and slid open the coolers and stole all the beer. So I got put on house arrest for that, and that's all I got.
Is that your primary thing, is drinking?
Yes.
And then that leads you, I guess, to...
Yes, I had started doing meth and started doing other things. And it was just not a real big thing, but I'd always been a drinker. And about 15 years ago, my stepbrother had gotten out on barbiturates really bad. And he was doctor shopping when that was a big thing, so he was getting like 90 Valiums and 120, or 90 Valiums from one doctor, 120 Klonopins from another doctor, and eating them all within the first week that he got them, shaking them with beer until he started going through withdrawals one night. And my dad was going through the proceedings to start a divorce with his mom, and he was dating my sister's best friend from high school. Well, he went over there, and they got in an argument, and he freaked out and picked up a hatchet and chopped them both up and killed them. And went and sat in my dad's office and shot himself. And after that had happened, I really started drinking really bad. And started doing other things. Moved in, stayed with my mom for the rest of the time after that. And of course, both my parents were always alcoholics, so me and my mom would just get drunk, smoke weed together all the time, eat mushrooms. And that was all fine. We got along great and everything. We always split all the bills, and I've always worked since I was about a little after 13, between 13 and 14. I'd started working at my dad's shop. He owned a business in Morristown called Press. And you spend every weekend of every summer at the drag races with him. Used to really love drag racing. Don't even watch it on TV anymore. Some days it's hard for me to even pick up a wrench. It starts doing stuff to me. Then a little over 3 years ago, I'd been drinking a lot. Me and my mom both drinking a lot. My mom had cardiovascular disease that had progressed to the point where the veins in her legs had shrank and hardened, and her arteries so bad she had to have her leg amputated. So I stayed home with her all the time and took care of her, and we both stayed drunk and most of the time. And then they gave her 3 years after they amputated her leg. She had stents in her neck, a couple in her heart, and in her legs and everywhere. They gave her 3 years. She made it 5. And then she finally died one night. I was in the house, and it was on 4/20, April 20th. She started feeling like she was having a heart attack, so I gave her one of her nitroglycerins because her hands were old. She had arthritis really bad, and she couldn't get her tiny little nitroglycerin bottle open, so I gave her one of her nitroglycerins. And I went and I called my sister, and then she started hollering help again, and she wanted to use her nebulizer because she had COPD so bad from smoking for so many years. That's another reason she had cardiovascular disease and all that stuff so bad. And I got her nebulizer thing in and poured the juice in it and turned it on and tried to hand it to her. She just fell over and started shaking and breathing real funny. Her eyes rolled back in her head, and I called an ambulance, and they came and hooked her up to the whatever heart machine and loaded her in the back of the ambulance. And I was on the phone with my sister telling her that I think Mom's dying this time. You better get here. So my sister made it in about a 2.5 hour drive. She made it in about an hour and a half, or maybe less. She may have even been in town, but I don't know. I never asked her the details because she got there so fast I couldn't believe it. And she got there, and they had given her an ambulance, the oxygen or something that had got her back alive enough to where she could talk, and she was trying to talk to them, so she pulled down her oxygen mask and she pointed her little arthritis finger at him and yelled at him, "Leave me alone!" And then they drove her off to Morristown Hamlin Hospital, and then drove her to Knoxville and pronounced her dead. And I had moved to Morristown, and my drinking very much progressed, where I was drinking half a gallon to a gallon of vodka every day, doing meth all the time. I was still a good worker. I was always at work, always paying my bills, until the drinking got so bad where I couldn't even do that. I went through 6 jobs in 1 year. Went to Magnolia Ridge the first time and graduated, had high hopes, made it out, didn't go into a recovery house, went back to my same apartment, and didn't even make it a month before I was up to about a half a gallon again a day. And it just took me a few months before that progressed, and I met some girl, Facebook girl, and she was supposed to be going to Nashville to go to rehab, so I figured I was going to go pick her up and ride her over to rehab. Well, she wanted one last hurrah, so she stopped and got a bunch of meth. And I was supposed to just be dropping her off in Knoxville at the bus station, but while we was running around town, she missed her bus stop or whatever it was. She was late, so I just ended up driving her to Nashville. Got to Nashville, I ate probably close to 2 grams of meth because I was sitting in the back of my van trying to sleep in the hotel parking lot while because I had ran out of rooms. and I seen headlights drive by, and I was already high as fuck. I ate the rest of it, and then I started running from the shadow people really bad. Ended up running around Nashville for about a week with no shirt, no shoes, just running crazy. Ended up going to jail twice. Woke up in the suicide tank naked. That's why everybody joked that I should write a country song that I woke up in Nashville naked. And went back to Magnolia Ridge a second time. That was a deal my sister made, that when she came and picked me up from the mission that I had ended up at in Nashville at the homeless shelter, that I was going to rehab again, and this time I was going to do the sober living thing and all that they recommended that time. So I've done it, and I'm still here. Made a lot longer than less than a month than I did the first time I tried rehab as an adult, and I'm still here.
You are still here.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know what goes into crafting the addict or the alcoholic, but I think the main ingredient that people often miss because of how we usually act in life is pain. The pain creates us in a very real way. What do you do with all of that pain now? Because I can still hear it bubbling over in you.
I'm still bad at just shoving it down. Sometimes I'm an asshole and I complain a lot. I distance myself from people. There's been a long time where I'll know people for months and still I won't allow myself to know their name, because I have this weird feeling that they're just going to be gone, and why do I even need to learn somebody's name if they're just going to be gone? And I don't know. It's hard for me to find people that tolerate me enough to be my friend, but once they get in there, they usually stick around pretty well until I do something pretty drastic, like end up naked in Nashville.
Running around.
Yeah.
What are you hopeful for?
Just a normal life without losing jobs, without being stuck, without drinking so much every day and not eating that my blood actually gets so thin that I pee and poop blood and start having seizures because and even though my blood alcohol content is quadruple the legal limit, I start going into seizures because of withdrawal, where my body wouldn't even accept anything that wasn't alcohol. I couldn't eat, I couldn't do anything. I would vomit just trying to eat a sandwich, and I would literally have to eat like cheese and crackers and chase it with shots of vodka just to get some food in me. And I don't want that anymore.
No. Do you see any hope or on the horizon, or do you have any?
I've got my goals set and everything. Live longer. I mean, I never thought I'd make it this long, but hopefully I can make it to like 75 or so, average male lifespan. And be able to not be dependent on having to live in a sober house just to be sober. And be able to repair the damage I've done with what family I have left. And I'm working on it with my sister. She still thinks I'm an asshole, which is true most of the time. I have 2 more sisters I hardly speak to. Yeah, I just normal life. Normal life without drugs, normal life without destroying relationships. Normal life where I can actually get the good job and keep it for a while and actually reap the benefits of it.
What do you think in your life today is the most important thing you do that keeps you sober?
Determination. I complain about all the meetings and all that stuff all the time, but I think it helps me that I'm in a house full of people that I'm afraid of the disappointment
that if I went out there and started drinking and doing everything again, I guess the unity part is helping. I'm not too sure. Just fear mostly.
That's fair.
That's more of my story than I've told anybody I live here at the house with yet.
I appreciate that. Sounds like it's still a lot to be written.
Hope so. Hopefully this is the good half of the book that I get to write now.